And then I'll screen share. Okay. Hey team, welcome to our team call. It's February 4th, and I am here to talk to you a little bit about Social Media 101. This particular social media call is going to be focused on creating consistency in your social media presence. The focus of this is to be more of a basics, a 101 kind of course in social media. So you're not going to get a lot of, content on how am I going to use an Instagram program, or how am I going to cross over Pinterest to my blog. We're not going anything crazy deep. Basically, we're going to talk about our 3 basic social media platforms that most of us are already using. That's Facebook, Instagram, and perhaps using a Facebook like page. We're going to focus on those 3 basic platforms and how we can create consistency throughout those platforms, and tailor those specific platforms to that particular audience and the platform that we're using. And then also how we can avoid having our content turn into a mess, and making sure that it's being a consistent message to our social media brand, our presence, and everything that we want to embody as a health and fitness coach. So we're going to just cover the basics today. I wanted to touch bases on a couple of social media do's and don'ts. And I have 8 social media do's and don'ts that I wanted to share with you. The first one is to post often. You want to respect your audience and the social media platform. So I use often in quotation marks here because that is going to vary depending on what social media platform you're using. If you're using Facebook, people are going to kind of expect that you would post 1, 2, 3 times a day. Anything more than that, the way Facebook works is they're not going to want to consistently share it with your followers and your friends because they think that you're being spammy with your content, particularly if all you're doing is sharing articles or sharing videos of cats. Facebook doesn't want to show that to your followers because it thinks that they're going to get bored with you. So the 1 to 3 social shares on Facebook is going to be your ideal. I would more focus on the 2 to 3 than just the 1 because it's going to create more of a consistency with your content. With Instagram, I think the expectation there is that you're posting a little bit more frequently. Your followers there, they tend to be on a little bit more often and at weird times during the day, so they can check. They want to see what you had for breakfast. They want to see what you had for lunch. They also want to see what you had for dinner. So they like staying updated on what you're doing. And I think that the same thing kind of applies to Twitter or Snapchat or anything like that, where it's more of an up-to-date what I'm doing now kind of social media platforms. They want to see you more, and you can follow them throughout the day. So go ahead, post more often on those things. Whereas if you're on a blog, you're not going to post 500 times a day on your blog. So just be respectful of the audience and the social media platform that you're using when I say post often. The second tip is you want to share something of value. Kind of going back to what I said, if you're consistently sharing pictures of cats or, funny dog videos or people getting hurt, your followers and your friends are going to get a little bored with your content, and they're not seeing anything original. They're not seeing anything different. They're not seeing anything that's you. Now, it's okay to share that once in a while, especially when that shows your personality. If you love cats and you're sharing this cat falling off a cupboard video, that's going to speak to you. Or if I love food and recipes and I'm going to share a couple recipes every so often, do that. But don't just constantly spam people with stuff that means nothing to them. A lot of that's going to come in sharing political posts that you don't care about, or sharing sales and coupons and all of these things. It's not really giving anybody anything of value, and it's distracting them from social media. So if they feel like, oh great, Christine is posting something again, and they want to just pass it by, then maybe you're not adding anything of value to them. The same thing can be said about our Shakeology or our workout posts. If all you're doing is holding your Shakeology body every day to your face, that's not really adding anything of value to your followers. Now, it can help in creating a consistency in the fact that, yes, I'm drinking Shakeology every day, but what can you do to add something of value to your friends and followers so that they would want to also be a part of that? So maybe you're going to share with them, hey, I had Shakeology today instead of having a donut, or instead of grabbing a cheeseburger after my workout, I had a chocolate Shakeology. This is how you can create that value to people, or share the recipe with your Shakeology, share an ingredient in the Shakeology, share something other than your face in a Shakeology bottle. Again, it creates consistency, but it's the same thing if I were to hold, a bottle of Coke to my face every day, got my Coke in, it means nothing to people. So you want to create something of why they want to also be a part of that. So share what Shakeology is doing for you, how they can benefit from it as well, so that they want to also be drinking Shakeology every day. The third tip is to stay positive, but do not be afraid to be vulnerable and share your struggles. It may seem a little counterintuitive, but the more you open up, the more personal you share, the more people are going to feel connected to you. So the more details you give people about your life, and they don't have to know everything, but if they feel that you're opening yourself up and you're sharing your struggles, people are going to relate to that. If it's something that you struggle with, I promise you that somebody else has already had this struggle, or they're currently going through it. And by you sharing that, they can connect, they can engage with you, and you can both grow together out of this problem, or this soft spot, or this vulnerability. So don't be afraid to share those things. I think that most of us as coaches can speak to the truth of it, is those posts where we share, hey, I screwed up, I gained weight over the holidays, or hey, I skipped my workout and I don't feel good. Sharing those vulnerable posts lets people know that we're real people, that we're approachable, that we're not putting out this fake air of being perfect Beachbody coaches. We're real, and people want to connect to something genuine. So don't be afraid to open yourself up. The first part of that is make sure that you do stay positive even when you're creating these negative sort of posts. Vulnerability and sharing your struggles, they aren't negativity, as long as you create an upswing with those. So you can share something like, hey, I've had a rough 2 weeks. I haven't worked out. I feel like shit. That's the end of my post. Doesn't create anything of value to people. But if you continue on with that post and then say, Monday I'm starting the 21-day fix. This program's worked for me before. I'm excited to get back into it. Who wants to join me? You've created an upswing, and that's something that people want to be a part of. Number 4 is don't share a mess. And what I mean by that is you don't want anything that you're sharing to your social media that is going to detract from who you are as a person, the brand you're creating, or it just doesn't fit at all. It goes back to those cat videos. If you're a cat person and people know you as that cat person, you can share those every so often. It doesn't take away from your message, because that's part of your overall brand. But if you're a cat person and all of a sudden you're sharing pictures of, I don't know, puppets in Paris, people aren't going to get it, and it doesn't mean anything to them. It doesn't relate to you. Maybe you thought it was funny, but it doesn't make any sense within your social media realm of who you are as a person. So take it out. It's distracting from what you're doing, and it doesn't belong on your social media. Maybe you thought it was funny, but it doesn't belong on your social media feed. 5 is to create attractive images and videos to go along with your content. I'm sure you've heard it before. A picture is worth 1,000 words. And it adds so much to your picture or to your post if you have an attractive image or a video to go along with it. Particularly on Facebook, if you're sharing videos, the feed and the content sharing of those is just going to be so much more than if you're just typing something into the status bar. Even if you want to share like a funny joke, if you make it an image, type that into one of the the photo editors where you type your joke into an imager and it pops up as an image, that's going to give it a little bit more staying power too, particularly on Instagram where you can't share a quote without it being an image. Those are going to carry your social media presence even farther because it gives it another dimension. Instead of just words, it adds a picture, it adds a video, it gives people something to remember, to put in their mind. 6 is consistently engage and invite. Not only should you be putting posts out there, but you should be putting feelers for people to post content back to you. So ask questions to people. Engage your followers. Hey, I had this for breakfast. What did you have? And when people comment back, you want to respond to them. It lets them know that you're actually there. You're a person sitting behind that social media presence, and you're responding. Especially for people that utilize Instagram, I'm sure you've seen comments on your photos. Maybe it's a photo of your breakfast and it's a piece of bacon and eggs and someone comments, "Good job, girl, you're looking great." And there's no engagement there because it's a robot behind these pictures, commenting on these photos for you. We don't want that. We want to create something where you're consistently engaging with your followers and your friends. So if you see a picture that you like, comment something that actually means something. Engage with your followers and friends. They comment on your photos, go comment on their photos. Create something where there's a dynamic between the two of you, not just you putting stuff out, but also taking in and being receptive, because that's going to create trust in a relationship where you can continue to build on it and perhaps get them to be either a customer or a coach. 7, do not push products, sales, or challenges. And I know that this is a business, and so as a part of a business, we are definitely going to have times where we are sharing sales that we're having, or we're sharing, a new flavor of Shakeology comes out, or if you buy Shakeology, you can get a challenge pack for free. I don't want to discourage you from doing that because this is a business, and you want to put out those sort of images and word of mouth and postings. They're going to make that business all come together. What you don't. Hold on.
Taxes coming.
Yeah.
I buy.
Can you make?
I buy the Shakeology.
Can you make sure that you're muted if you're talking? But we don't want to overflood our feed with just sales. You don't want your feed to look like a newspaper ad. You don't want your feed to look like a billboard. You want it to stay authentic to you. And then that leads to number 8 is be authentic. For a lot of us, we don't have a lot of the same friends and followers other than our Beachbody community. And so if you see a really great post that you like, feel free to take it and make it your own, but speak in your own authentic voice. I've seen people copy and paste something from somebody else, and it says, look how I became, I went from a single mom to being a Beachbody coach. And if I repost that, I'm not a single mom. And so all of my friends and followers see that and think, okay, this doesn't speak to her. She's obviously copying, pasting. What's even going on? So if you're going to do something like that, which I encourage you to do because we have lots of great things that are already out there, make it your own. Change the image a little bit, change the wording, do something where it's authentic to you. Because if you're not being authentic, your friends and followers will spot it. They'll see you're a fake and they're going to lose interest in you. Whoops, what did I just do? Sorry. Cool. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about brand consistency because that was the topic of our call. Again, If you have anything to add, or if you have questions at any point during this, go ahead and take yourself off mute, and then you can hop in and answer your questions or add feedback that you have for this. Creating consistency in your social media presence. In order to do that, you want to consider one, branding. Remember that your tribe or your vibe attracts your tribe. So think about who you want to put out. What am I as a social media presence? What are the things that people know about me? What do I want them to know about me? What do I want them to remember about me? Consider that your brand. For some of you, you also may want to create an alter ego, or that's your brand. For me, my Instagram name is Fit and Fearless. And so that would be part of my brand. However, when I start a social media page, or if I'm on Facebook, do I want to keep that consistent? Do I want my Facebook name to also be Fit and Fearless? Think about all those things that are going to create the consistency. And those are all those big picture things that you're looking for. Other things that are going to create consistency amongst your social media platforms are having the same profile picture. This seems like a little minor detail, but it's going to help your friends and followers easily identify you. The same thing that goes for your name. If I'm on Facebook, and I can speak for myself because I know it's confusing. My Facebook is Nicole Honette, but I think my email is still Nicole Faree. It confuses people. So if that's something that I'm working on, is making sure that everything that I'm using is consistent. So use similar names, similar profile pictures, anything that helps you stay consistent where they can easily spot you. Hey, that's the same picture of the girl I saw on Instagram. I recognize it on her Facebook. I know we're following the same people, so I'm going to follow her. We're already friends. 4, think about having the same color scheme and fonts. Not as much of an issue, I would say, with Facebook, but for Instagram, this is huge. And there's so many options out there, particularly with, all the great apps there are to create photos and videos and all of that. You can just, really, the sky is the limit. And you can add stickers and you can add colors, and don't get overwhelmed with it. I think the best thing you can do is to really pick something that embodies you and your brand and stick with it. If you like pink and teal, that could be your brand, and you want to kind of go around all of that. So anytime you're adding images or you're adding logos to your images, kind of think in that same color scheme. The same thing can be said for layouts or patterns, or if you want to use black and white pictures, or if there's a similar filter that you're going to use on all your photos, something that kind of distinguishes your pictures so they all make sense together. Particularly on Instagram, where you have the ability to go onto the page and you see, the top photos that they've posted. You want to make sure that that makes sense together, because when people see something that makes sense, that's cohesive, that's not a mess, but it carries a message, they're going to be more likely to follow you and to want to be a part of that. Organization speaks to people internally. When they see something that makes sense and it's beautiful, they're more likely to click follow and to engage than if it's just this big mishmash of colors and collages and pictures and blah, 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 blah. So keep it consistent. And it doesn't have to be complicated to stay consistent. 6, you want to have recognizable photos. And I think that this can go 2 ways. Recognition in the fact that your photos all kind of have that look to them. And again, that could be a filter, or you put your logo in the same place every time. You're using a consistent font, something where people see it and they know this is something that you would post. The other way to do that is to put yourself in the pictures. And I know it can be intimidating at first, but when people see pictures with you and your selfies and you after your workout and you going to the store and a picture of your pretty little face in these pictures, it creates recognition. Think about it as product placement, where you as a coach are the product. You want to put yourself out there so that people recognize you. Social media is all about wanting to be your friend. And the more people feel like you're friendly, you're out there, you're smiling, they can see you and connect with you, the more likely they are to invest in you, and the more likely they are to then invest with their wallet into what you're selling. And then 7, repackage content for different social media forums. There's no reason why if you don't post something, or if you post something on Instagram, you can't then share it on your Facebook. Just make sure that you kind of adapt it to what social media forum you're using. So for Instagram, you don't want to then completely import it there and leave, some of the emojis there, because all the emojis aren't going to show up when you bring it over to Facebook, and it's going to look funny and weird. So take those out. Just adjust it to what social media platform you're plugging into. Okay, and then I guess these are some of the don't do's. This is how to avoid having that mess and making sure that it stays a consistent message to you and your social media brand. Is you want to avoid bad photos. And I don't necessarily think that there are any bad photos as long as you are being consistent and engaging, but things that distract and distract from your photos, or if you have poor lighting, if it's just a wiggly picture, there's no focus, if it's bad angles, if there's tons of distractions in the photos, it takes away from the message that you're trying to communicate. And with your phone, with these apps that are out there, even if you're creating images on your computer and then sending them to your phone, or whatever you're doing with your social media, there's so many things out there now that make it so simple for you to be a graphic designer. And you can easily add light to the picture, or crop it, or, use a blurring thing to get your dog out of the picture. All of these things are available to you, and it takes an extra 30 seconds to make this picture look better. And it's going to carry so much more weight when it's appealing and it's attractive. So it's worth the time and effort to make it look good, because people want to see a pretty picture, and then they'll read what content you have that goes along with it. The second thing you want to kind of avoid is having too much stuff. That is way too many emojis on your picture, or too many squiggles. You're using 5 different fonts and 12 different colors. You're adding collages. Just stay simple. You want to, again, speaks to your brand. If all of your pictures have pink backgrounds, do that. But don't have a pink and a blue and a purple and a yellow. Those backgrounds. Stay consistent. Stay true to you. Eliminate all of those distractors. You want people to see your pictures, read your content, and then stick with it and connect with it, not move on because it's scary and too much is going on with it. 3, avoid unrelated and irrelevant posts. I think there's definitely a time and place where you can sneak things into your feed. For instance, my Facebook is all about health and fitness, but I'm going to share photos of my wedding. I'm going to share photos of my dog, because that's who I am. And it may not be health and fitness, but it's who I am. Now, they're not constant, but they're a part of who I am. So you can sneak those in. And I think that lets your audience see more about who you are as a person, and you want to do those kind of posts. But if I'm consistently, sharing stuff that has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with my friends, my followers, my audience isn't going to be interested in it. It's distracting. So if I started posting, I don't know, about makeup. I don't do makeup. I'm not a makeup person. People would be confused by it. If I started, sharing what shampoo I use, people would know that I'm a liar because I never wash my hair. So post stuff that is consistent and relevant to you. And then 4, you want to avoid being a spammy kind of post or a billboard. And we've talked about this, and I want to just keep impressing this upon you. Yes, it's okay every once in a while. Share those things. We have great sales, and you want to share that, put and share that and get that out to your followers, but it doesn't need to be every single day, because if you come across as an advertisement, people are going to get really bored and they're going to get annoyed with you because they didn't come here to see, what challenge packs are on sale. They came here to see what you're doing with your own health and fitness journey. And if it just so happens to be on sale, then you can share that with them as well. I think the important part that we remember about coaching is people can buy these products without you. People can go to Amazon. People can go to the Team Beachbody website. People can call in on the infomercial. They don't need you to order these products. So you have to make them need you. You have to make them want to work with you. You have to create something where you're different and special. And just becoming a billboard doesn't do that. You want to share your journey and your story so that people are invested in you. That's what a coach does. 5, copy and pasting something that's not authentic to you and your brand. We've already touched on it. Share, but make sure you tweak it so it speaks to you and your audience. And then 6, avoid judgmental and negative posts. We all have bad days. Trust me, I know, but you don't need to always share those on social media. The "I hate my boss, he can go to hell" posts, while it may be very true, it doesn't really add much to anybody's social media experience except letting you vent. Text your best friend and tell her that, but you don't need to put that on social media. If you do put that on social media, think how you can keep going with it so it creates that upswing. "I hate my boss, he's an asshole, need to go work out, this frustration, gonna press play with Autumn" is a much better post, because it creates that upswing. People see that you're struggling as well, but you've made something of it. And then kind of to wrap up why I believe that consistency is important and why it's necessary for you to create this in your social media presence is 1, consistency creates trust. Your followers and your friends and your family, the people that are following your social media, see that you're actually following through with the things that you say you're doing. So if I say, "I believe in Shakeology every day, this is why I drink it," by you sharing a picture of you drinking Shakeology every day, they trust and believe you. If you say you work out every day and you post about your workout every day, they trust and believe that you're doing that. And it creates that level of trust. And that level of trust is essential as coaches for people that want to work with us. They know that they can put their faith in us. 2, it creates reliability. It's that same thing. Same thing is creating the trust. They have the reliability. They know that every day you're going to share a tip on health and fitness. They know that if they need to go to somebody looking for a recipe or, a nutrition advice, they know who they can go to. You've created someone that's a reliable resource to them, and they want to go to you for answers. 3, it creates an expectation. And so it puts that expectation on you to keep putting that consistent content out. I know that there are some people where I follow them on social media, Instagram, and if I don't see a post by them, if I don't see 2 or 3 posts by them by noon, I kind of get concerned, like, "Hey, is Jody okay? Like, I didn't see her post on Instagram yet. She normally has her shake by now. She's normally done her workout by now. Like, I wonder if she's okay." And your followers will start to create that same level of expectation in you where they want to know, "Hey, what's going on? I know that she's always doing this. Where is she?" And I don't mean to say expectation like a negative thing where it puts pressure on you, but it does put some sort of accountability on you so that people know that they can go to you. They've created that trust and reliability, and so they want to see more from you. And then 4, it creates recognizability. When you are consistently posting, people see your face every day. You show up in their Instagram feed 10 times a day. They see your face, they know you, they feel like they're friends with you. They pop up in your Facebook feed every day, you doing your workout. They want to be a part of that. The recognizability is something that when they have a problem, or they're ready to be a part of this journey, they want to buy that challenge pack, they know who to go to because you've consistently put yourself out there in their mind. And so they see you and they know you're working out. They know you're working out. They know you're working out. And when it's time for them to work out, they know who they can go to connect all the pieces and help them work out as well. So that's our little presentation. I'm going to stop my screen share and I'm going to open it up to any questions. I will leave the recording on for a little bit in case there are any great questions that that we can all answer together, or comments or feedback that we want to add to it, and then I'll stop it. But the recording is still going if anybody has anything to add. Anybody?
I thought of something kind of in the middle of it. I was listening to Carly Del Carlo. She was a top 10 coach last year. I was listening to her talk this weekend, and she said something that kind of resonates with posting and being consistent and being, kind of like imperfect. A lot of people are like, I can't make these pretty posts, or I can't make them, the way, I want them to look, or, they kind of think it needs to be perfect to get it out there. You don't need to have it perfect. You don't need it to be, you don't need to sit there and work on it for half an hour. Give it a minute, 5 minutes, and get it out there. She said that she said this quote, and I thought it really kind of resonated with me. It says, imperfect disciplined action every day is better than perfect wishy-washy action every other day. So basically, like, having your posts, making them relevant to you, but they don't have to be, spectacular and awesome and just like perfect. You don't have to have like, the perfect filter to make your face look amazing. You don't have to have that. But make sure that you're consistently posting every day something, because if you're posting every other day, people won't remember you. Like Nicole said about that consistency. People won't remember you, or they'll just like be like, oh, she's kind of wishy-washy and not really reliable. So that's kind of what resonated with me going through this.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, because I think the biggest part is that we're not perfect. And I think that exactly, if we're being consistent and just sharing that imperfection about our life, that's really what's going to connect to people. No one wants to connect to a Barbie doll or a fake lifestyle. We're us, and they want to see that we're real. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Thank you all for joining us.